Europe.
Very
Hmm.
cool. My family's from Armenia,
Oh,
so
wow.
right next door to you.
Perfect.
Very cool. So
Nice.
I brought on Shannon because we're pretty close, even though she lives on the other side of the world, and she works with different people than I do. So Shannon, why don't you kind of walk us through what you specialize in, who you work with? Yeah.
Okay, so my focus is I'm helping women, women who want to lose weight, and women who struggle with binge eating. I call it emotional eating, and it's because of I years ago I struggled myself with that, and I overcame, I overwon it. So I know how it is to struggle with that, and that's why I really focus on helping those women, because I see it as my mission, and to help them, to let them know that they can overcome it, and there is a life without those binge eating problems. So yeah.
I love that. And this is the whole reason why I wanted to bring Shannon on here, is because I've gone through the same thing. As you guys all know, I've struggled with my own eating disorder, and I've done my best to help you guys out, and we've done a training on it, but I wanted to bring on Shannon to help share her insight of how she has overcome it, how her clients work on it as well. So with that said, Shannon, I would love to just get started. When you bring on a woman into your program,
Mhm.
what are what is the first step to overcoming emotional eating?
The big one, the opener, is being aware of how you talk to yourself.
Mm,
And the most of the time is we are our own monsters, I say, because it's in your head. It's the way how you talk to yourself, and we have to be nice to ourselves. And most of the time we are really harsh on ourselves and want to be perfect. And when we mess up, when we make a little mistake, we can be we can beat up ourselves. So that's what I ask them, to be aware of that voice in your head, and just notice how you talk to yourself. That's what I say to the ladies. And they have to write it down when it happens and what happens, or what they do. It's like I said, to be aware of that. And once you get the insight, what's going on, you have to be aware of the emotions. Which emotion do you have? And then it's going to be about how are you going to, how do I say that? Feed that. So, for
mm.
example, are you, is the emotion sad, or is it angry, or is it tired? So, when you know that, you can take care of that. That's it. Because instead of feeding it with food, like comfort, like make numb it, you have to focus on the emotion, and you have to face that emotion. That's what I say. But it has to be step by step. First, you have to be aware about the voice, what you're doing, how you're beating yourself up. Write that down, and that's the first step.
So what do you find is the most common thing that your women beat themselves up about?
You want to be perfect.
Mm,
Like they want to do, they don't let themselves allow themselves to make a mistake. Like, for example, they're on a diet.
mm.
They want to be too strict, too harsh on themselves, and they don't allow themselves to relax or make a little mistake. And I used to do that too. So I remember, I know how that feels. So when I would make a small mistake, for me that would be a disaster. Like I effed up everything. Like I messed up, and that would be like, now it's all a waste. So you know what? I messed it up. So forget about it, and I would let go everything. I would binge eat, maybe 2 or 3 days, and I will let go of my trainings, my workouts, and I will be beat up myself really bad. And that's what I see with those ladies. They want to do it perfect. And so I let them know that it's okay to make a mistake. It's not the end of the world. You still can manage to maintain your diet. You can still lose the weight. There's nothing messed up. But you have to see that it's okay to make a small mistake, even if it's not a mistake. But for you, maybe it looks like a mistake. So I show them the other options, what they could do instead of ruining it for a few days. They could look back and say, okay, so I took one cookie, so one cookie, it's okay. I still can maintain my diet. And maybe later on the day, instead of eating 2 slices of bread, I can have 1 or 1.5 slice of bread. So I will make it up for that cookie. Instead of eating the whole package of cookies and being angry at myself, I can say, okay, so I learned and it's okay. Next time I will do it differently. So that's what I teach them. I let them
Yeah.
know.
So eating really starts with how you speak to yourself and how you treat yourself.
Exactly.
So this perfectionist mindset, I think we all deal with this perfectionist, even us, like you and me, I think we struggle with perfectionist mindsets at times as well. So how do you find for your clientele, what's the best way for them to overcome this perfectionist mentality?
Well, for example, I let them know about me. So I tell them, you see me, they see me as a pro, like accomplished everything and looking in shape and like I never mess up. And I say to them, you see me? They said, yeah, I see you. I said, I was once an amateur. I was once where you are. So I messed up tons of times.
Hmm.
And because of my messing up, I learned how to do it the right way. So if I would not mess up, I would never learn because that's the way how you feel it and how you learn to maintain the right method. So you have to mess up in life, in everything, even in every day. I say that to myself also as a coach. I need to mess up. So then you feel the burn and you think, next time when there's another situation almost similar to that, you think, oh no, remember last time? That was not nice. I don't want to do that again. So that's the best lesson. So that's what I tell them. There is no perfection. You can't be perfect.
Hmm.
Or else you're not living. You're not living. So that's what I tell them. Yeah.
That's powerful. So basically see your mistakes as learning opportunities. That's awesome.
Exactly. Every pro was once an amateur. That's what
Mm.
I said. Yeah.
Yeah, we've all you have to kind of go through your learning curve. You have to go through the mistakes to get to where you are. You're not just born perfect. You're not born a pro.
No, and those lessons are the best lessons. The hardest lessons of the biggest mistakes and the worst mistakes I made are the best lessons in my life and the most valuable lessons. Yeah.
Mm. That's powerful.
Mhm.
So when it comes, so let's talk about what actually happens in like a binge episode. So do you train them on after they've messed up or they made a mistake and they have overeaten or they fell off their meal plan? What is your process for either getting them back on track or getting them to forgive themselves?
Okay. So I tell them what I've been through. So how I went through those days. It's like you wake up like a hangover.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, it's like the next day. It's like a hangover. Even what the f did I do? And instead of doing what you're used to do, like starting like beating up yourself, starving yourself and extremely going on the cardio sessions to make up for the mistakes you made, I tell them to realize, okay, look back, what happened? I fell off the wagon. Okay. And what is it different than the last time? Well, this time I was in a binge for 2 days instead of 3 days, for example. So I'm going to look on the things that I accomplished, and it is normally it would be for 3 long days that I would binge eat, but
Mm.
this time I stopped at 2 days. So hey, I made progress, and okay, tough luck, it happened. I'm not perfect, so I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to do exactly as Janan told me. So I'm going to stick to my program, go to my workout, and talk nice to myself and give something nice to myself, like something like a massage or a spa, or something, a treat, to be nice and kind to myself. And realize that this is a process. You're not able to go from A to Z in one way. It's going to be from A to B, C, D. Sometimes you go back to A, then to B, and again to C. And sometimes it happens twice that you go back to A and do it all over again. But every time you learn something, every time you see some progress, it has to be. It has to be something that you accomplished compared to the time before. So that's what I tell them. And I tell them they're going to make it. It's going to happen also for them as long as they stick to the program and never give up, because this is something they want to get rid of and they can get rid of. If I can do it, then you can do it. That's what I say. Yeah.
So three really important things you said there. So number one was be nice to yourself. Don't talk down to yourself. Don't be negative. Don't say those hateful things, because that's going to make it worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then the second thing was find the positives of what happened in your binge.
There's always progress. Always.
I love that. And then the third thing was don't try to make up for it. Just get back on the program.
You got it.
That's
Perfect.
powerful. So you're not a believer in trying to make up for a mistake. We just get back on where we were.
Exactly. Yeah. They won't help you. They will make it worse, because then you're gonna beat up yourself. Then you're gonna say, "Hey, it's me. I'm not good." And no, you're gonna see it's a part of the process.
Mm.
It's You have to mess up. You have to make mistakes to learn the way that you want to be, the way that you have to go. That's it.
Yeah. So if you guys are noticing a pattern here with what Shannon is saying, it all comes back down to self-love and self-worth and treating yourself the way that you want to treat others, or how others want you to treat you, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So would you say that eating disorders like this are just as serious as like alcoholism or being addicted to specific kinds of drugs?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people don't see it as a real problem, so they laugh it off. Women do that. Sometimes I talk to women and they're joking about themselves, and I know that they don't want to do that, but that's the way they survived. So
Mm.
and I ask them, do you really find it funny? And then she says no. And she says, I'm laughing because I'm nervous and I rather want to cry, but that's the way I learned to survive, and that's the way how I deal with it. And I tell her or them that it's okay to show that it's a problem for them, and that there is a pain, because it comes from somewhere. You are eating because if it's an addiction, it's like sugar and it's like drugs and it's like alcohol. And just like people can overcome that, you can overcome this also.
Mhm.
And the tough part is you always have to eat. For example, you can avoid alcohol, you
Mm.
can avoid cigarettes, but you have to eat. So you're always how do you say, confronted with food. So that's why it is really difficult for a lot of people. But it comes to what you said, self-love, and confronting yourself with the issues that you have. If you run away from that, you will not overcome the binge eating. No.
Mhm. And this is something that I have to tell everybody all the time, is that this is just as serious. I mean, I would even argue, like what you said, like when it comes to drugs or alcohol, I'm not going to say it's easy, but you can just avoid it. You just don't go to the bars. You just don't go to the liquor store. But this particular kind of addiction is challenging because you eat, you have to eat to survive. Um, yeah. So I think another big thing for overcoming any kind of eating disorder is treat it seriously. It's like this is it's serious, but also you can overcome it, and there's more people that deal with that have this problem than you realize. I mean, this is not something that you have to hide. This is not something that you have to be ashamed of. I think letting someone know is the first step to getting this problem resolved.
Exactly. Talking about it. If you
Mm,
hide it and you say, "Oh no, there's nothing wrong," you'll never overcome it. Never. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. That's why I talk about my issues that I had way back years ago.
mm,
And I show my pictures, and it was not easy for me, but I knew if I would tell my story, it would help a lot of women. When
mm.
they see me, they think, whoa, you had those issues? You had those binge eating? Yeah, I did. I'm so happy that it's behind me. I never want to go back, but it happened. Yeah. So that's why I want to share my story. Yeah.
I love that. So
Mhm.
how do you feel about like cheat days or cheat meals? Do you have those?
I love them. I
Oh,
need
okay.
it. I love it. I need it.
So
There
how
was
does that work?
there was a time that I could not have sugar or chocolates or sweets in my house, in my closet. That was
Mm,
in the period with my binge eating. But when you're in a binge, you can even eat things you don't like.
mm,
I even had those days. Just you had to. It was like I needed to put something in my mouth, food. So when I overcome my problems with the food, with the binge eating, I got control of food. I'm in control, so I can enjoy. And if I have a piece of chocolate, and I can put it in my closet, in my refrigerator, and it's still there, and I'm okay with that. So I can enjoy because I'm in control of the food, and it was different.
mhm. How did you get to that point where you couldn't have anything in the house because it just led to you just eating it like crazy? How did you get to the point where you could not have food in the house to having food in the house and controlling yourself and not just like ravaging it because it's there?
It took time. It took time
Mm,
facing my problems. As I said, facing the emotions. So
mm,
I had to face myself. Why do I do this? Because it makes me unhappy when I wake up in what was I say after like having alcohol. What was it?
craving, temptation,
I'm sorry. When you
urge.
have no after the day that you had a lot of alcohol and the next day you wake
Oh,
up.
hangover.
That was it. Sorry. Yeah. So don't worry. I'm sorry. So you wake up like from a hangover, and then
Mm,
you feel like really miserable. And then I was like, okay, I have to face my problems. So that's how I started. And as I said, my binges would change. So from 3 days, it will be 2 days, and then 1 day, and then just a half a day, and then it will be one meal, and then it will be, oh, I could stop after a cookie, or think, hey, I don't need that because I was facing my problems. So, and I wanted to enjoy food without thinking about it.
mm,
So, by dealing with my problems in that period, I could not have those foods in my house. So, what did I do? When I had a cheat day, I would go out and eat, and
Mm.
I treat myself. But I would not have it in the house because there was a period that I still could not have it in the house. So you have to know in which phase you are. And for example, if you're with a partner and you have kids and they need to have sweets in the house, what you can do, you can ask them to keep it in the closet, lock it up, and keep the key away from you. So you're not faced with the sweets, you can't get to it.
Mm.
And when you face your problems, and I hope, and it will happen for you too, once you're there, you can also have it in the house and enjoy it without even thinking about it.
I love that. So there's a time where in order to face this, you have to get the food out of the house or you have to get the triggers out of the home.
Yeah.
But once you are able to confront how you feel
Yes.
and you're able to deal with your emotions without food, there is a time where you can have your favorite foods in the house and you're not going to just ravage it like crazy. So what you're
And enjoy,
saying,
and enjoy it.
yeah, I love that. And basically what I'm getting from this also is like there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like you don't need to restrict and box yourself in forever. There's just a time where you have to do that and then it gets easier.
Yes. Yes. It's like when you say, I can't have this, or I can't have that. You want it,
Mm.
and you want it more and more and more. And then you overeat it. So once you're there in that phase, you are in control. You are the one who's saying, okay, I want to have that and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to taste it instead of putting it in your mouth without even tasting it. I know when in those binges, I wouldn't even taste the food that I had in my mouth. I wouldn't even, how do you say it? I would just swallow it without even chewing.
Chewing. Yeah.
Oh, terrible. Yeah, worst.
I totally get where you're coming from. I mean, I remember a moment where I felt like I was going through one of my episodes. We have a bakery around here and they always have like brownies and stuff. And I felt like I was swallowing the brownies whole and not even enjoying them.
Yeah.
It's so yeah, it's a real thing.
Mhm.
So when you're in like when you feel a binge coming on, like when you're in the middle of a binge and you identify it,
Mhm.
do you try to train your people to stop or do you let it happen? Like how do you go about that?
Okay, I tell them when you feel it coming, you feel it coming. I
Mm,
remember when I had it, it was like I was in a rage. I wouldn't see anything. It was like focus, food, now. And there is a voice in your head and who's talking to you like, okay, I can stop this now. No, I don't want to stop. Yes, you're going to stop. No, I don't. So you try to stop yourself as many times as you can. Even during that binge, there is that voice. And even then, you can stop. Even if it's half an hour after binge or 1 hour, it doesn't matter. But the faster, the sooner you stop, the better the win. And as I said, sometimes you're going to accomplish it, and sometimes you're not. The monster is going to win.
mhm.
And even that is okay. Go with it. So relax and don't fight it. And the more you will fight it, the harder it will get. So as I say, you're gonna try and you're gonna do your best. And sometimes you stop it, and sometimes you're gonna go into it, and you're gonna learn from it. You're gonna learn anyways. That's it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, do you have any particular kinds of coping mechanisms of how to stop? Because for a lot of people, it's not as easy as just like
Oh,
don't put the food in your mouth. Like there, like do you have ways of overcoming that?
yeah. So what I tell to my ladies, my girls, I tell them, you make a list. You have sabotaging thoughts, and you make that list. You write it down, all those thoughts, and next to them, you're gonna put down positive thoughts.
Mm,
So you have the sabotaging thoughts and you have the positive thoughts. Every day, I want you to read it twice a day, the positive thoughts. Why are you in this process? Why are you doing this? What do you want to get out of this? So focus on the positives. You have to read it twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. And even when you have a tough moment, when you feel a binge coming up, you have to read it and talk to yourself in the positive way. So that's how I tell them. And focus on the goal, where you want to go. That helps. It helps me a lot.
Hmm.
And instead of thinking, okay, I'm gonna binge right now because I just wanna eat all those cookies. I don't care and I don't mind, and I'm gonna do it. And then the other thought, no, because it's gonna make me unhappy. What happens after I ate all the cookies? I'm gonna feel lousy. I'm gonna feel miserable, and all my work is gonna be gone for nothing. And as I said, you're gonna struggle. Sometimes you have bad news that makes you sad, so you want to binge, and you have to fight against it. And if you succeed, then you have a win. And if you lose and you do binge, it's okay because you're going to learn from that anyway. So next time you're going to do a different. You're going to say, okay, what happened? What can I do different for the next time? Okay, better if I have bad news. I must not be alone. Better that I be with someone who's going to help me, comfort me, so I can prevent myself binging again.
Mm.
That's how I tell them. That's how I help them. Yeah.
So again, identifying the feelings behind it, identifying this is what I'm feeling right now. What is going to happen at the end of this? And just writing that out. And I think that's going to help for you to kind of see into the future. Cause I think when you're in a binge, you think
You don't.
about like, you think about right now. Like
Yeah.
you don't think about what's going to happen the next day.
I want to eat. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you have it before, if it happened before, you can think back and think, oh no, wait. No, last time when I did that, how I felt, and oh no, I don't want that happen that again. So that's why I say it's okay to make mistakes, because
Mm-hmm.
those mistakes are going to help you for the future
Mm-hmm.
to realize, oh no, I don't want that. Huh. I'm
Yeah.
going to do it differently this time. Yeah.
I love that.
Mhm.
We just had we just had a thing come in, a comment. This reminds me of something I was talking about with my brother-in-law. We were saying that our coping mechanism and our reward system needs to change away from food, and then it'll be easier not to binge in a sad moment or in a good moment as a reward. Yeah, I think and the hard thing is food is such a social thing.
Mhm.
We eat
Yeah.
we eat it. We eat for to make memories. We eat at funerals. Like we're always eating. So yeah, I believe that if we can find different rewards that aren't food, I think, and stop relating both positive and negative emotions with food, I think it'll help.
I know for sure it does. I do it for myself.
Hmm.
Like I go to a spa. Oh, that's also a good one. I told to the girls in my group, uh, we have a jar, and everybody has his own jar in the house. It's called the compliment jar.
Hmm.
So because of the COVID, we are in a lockdown right now. So I told my girls, every time when you succeed to be positive and you accomplish a goal, like doing a workout or speaking nice to yourself instead of being a monster to yourself, you put €1 in that jar, and at the end of the lockdown, or maybe at the end of this month, or at the end of the 3 months, whatever you prefer, you buy something nice for yourself, or you go out to have a weekend away with your partner or a spa, anything but food.
I love
Not
that.
or dinner. So do something nice for yourself. Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. So do you have any advice on how to find an accountability partner or a group to keep accountable to?
Yes, very important. Very important to have someone who holds you accountable.
Hmm.
Find a buddy. If you can find a buddy for yourself. And the best thing is a coach. In everything that I have done, a coach. If either it was dancing classes or I don't know, fitness or workouts, um, mental coach, whatever, you need a coach, someone who has been through what you've been through, someone who's going to guide you, someone who's going to make you feel that it's okay to make mistakes and that you're still going to make it. So that's my advice. But if you can't do a coach, then do a buddy, someone in your neighborhood or a close friend or
Mhm.
family member who can check you out. How are you doing? Are you okay? Holding you accountable. Yeah, very important.
I love that. That's awesome. So, do you find that too restrictive of diets, like these starvation diets, or these diets that take, do you find that they make binges worse?
Yeah, they
So
make it.
how how do we go about finding a meal plan or finding a diet that we can adhere to lose weight without aggravating those binge eating episodes?
Very important to eat healthy and enough amount of carbs, protein, and fats. So you
Mm,
have to eat the whole day for you. That's right, a right amount for you.
mm,
And if you're able, if you can, I give my ladies also. How do you say some sweets like chocolate, but it's going to be the healthy part, like the dark chocolate
mm,
and the I give them some things that they like some of them like a glass of wine or a little bit of chips with
mhm,
potatoes like that.
mhm,
So I do give them small treats, and it's still in the uh, nutrition plan. Yeah, that's the word. So they eat healthy and they have small snacks. So they give themselves small treats,
mhm.
and that's when you have to be aware and be careful. If you can't control that, then don't do it, then don't have those small treats. But it's possible. And then you could do one day a cheat, like I said, and you have to go out. You don't have to have it in the house.
Mhm.
So it's out of the house, you go out and you go for a cheat. That's how I solve it. And you have to learn in the weeks or in the years that you have, it's possible to have it in the house. But
Mm.
if you're not in that phase yet, don't do it. Don't bring it in the house. Wait until you're ready for that. Yeah.
I love that. So you frequently let them have just small amounts of these little treats, right?
Yeah.
And then once a week they're allowed to go out and have a meal somewhere else.
If it's possible for them, if
Right.
it's okay, and if they control it. Yeah, that's why I give options. Either one of that, either have those small treats, or do the one day cheat out of the
Mm.
house, so you don't have
Okay.
nothing in the house. Yeah,
So
and
kind
if
of
you have, sorry,
so either or, like either one.
yeah, yeah, that's my choice. That's my.
Got it. That's very cool. Um, so then you said that also you want to be eating throughout the day. So you wouldn't recommend any kind of intermittent fasting with
No, 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 no.
so you find that makes it worse.
Yeah, yeah, but because of intermediate fasting is starving yourself. The people
Mhm.
lose weight because of they don't eat for a few hours. That's the only reason why they lose weight. So they eat less. But what does happen? The blood sugar goes down, so you feel not so strong. How do I say that in English? Uh, always,
Groggy.
yeah, because your blood sugar is lower. You need sugar. So
Mhm.
what do you create? Binges.
Yep.
So what you have to focus on, maintain your blood sugar level stable, and that's the best when you eat every 2 or 3 hours, small amount of food, healthy food, and also yummy food, the food that you like. You don't have to eat something you don't like.
Mhm. Yeah, she just said something really important, guys. So with your healthy meals, just because it tastes good doesn't mean that it's not healthy. And just
Mm-hmm.
because it's healthy food doesn't mean that it needs to taste terrible. Doesn't need to be bland.
Exactly. I love food. I would not. enjoy life if I could not have my pasta with Parmesan cheese and a pizza or a hamburger, but I know when to eat it and to enjoy it. When I eat it, I enjoy it. But
Mhm.
I live really healthy and I love healthy food, but I also love the yummy food. So, and I find healthy food also yummy. So,
That's awesome. Well, this has been a treasure trove of knowledge. So I want to thank Shannon so much for hopping on here and giving us some of her knowledge. Shannon, where is the best place for people to contact you if they want to get in touch with you?
oh, first of all, I want to thank you for having me, and it's an honor to be here. So you can reach out on Instagram or Facebook and send me a DM, and I will get in touch with you.
Here, I will put her Instagram handle in the chat. We have just a few minutes for Q&A for anybody who's watching. You're welcome to, is that okay with you?
Yeah, of
Cool.
course. I'd love to help.
Cool. I will look at the comments on Facebook to see if anybody comes through. We've got a couple people on the Zoom. If you have a question for Shannon, you can just unmute yourself and I'll let you go. We'll give it just a minute. Okay, so here she is in the chat. And then this is her Instagram right here. Cool. So you're a bodybuilder, right?
I do competitions, yes, bikini
Awesome.
competitions. Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
Since 2013, but off and on.
Very cool. Very
Mm-hmm.
cool. So is Holland currently locked down right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So gyms are locked down.
Gyms are locked down. Everything is on a lockdown. We're all at home. I have my home gym at the attic, and yeah.
So what do your at-home workouts consist of?
Strength, and I bought a cardio machine.
Oh,
I'm
cool.
so happy that I bought it. It's a stepper, so I can do everything I want. I have dumbbells, I have a bench, and a barbell, so I can manage at home. Yeah, and I have a cardio machine. Perfect.
That's
And
awesome.
of course, I also go out running for very healthy to do some jogging once or
Mhm.
twice a week for my mental health
Yeah,
also. Mhm.
very cool. Awesome. Well, Danza said, what helped to be able to correct your self-talk from negative to positive? That's a good question.
Doing it over and over and realizing that I am the only one who can do this. I remember that night, it was in the middle of the night, and I think 2 in the morning, and I was just finishing in a binge. And I was looking in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I was like bloated because I went from a size in Holland, it says 34 size extra small to extra large 44 in a few months because of my binges,
Mhm.
and I couldn't recognize myself. I was like, what the f am I doing? And then I said to myself, okay, this is it, and I have to pick up myself and get out of this, and the only way that it's going to happen is if I'm going to do it. So the next morning it was really hard on me. Really early I went to the gym, really early, because I didn't want anybody to see me because I was really gained a lot of weight. And that's how I started. But it was not like it happened one day and I was every day going to the gym and feeling powerful. No, struggling, crying, being angry at myself, and then talking to myself, no, I'm going to be positive. So I wrote it down, and I wrote down how I wanted to talk to myself, how I wanted to treat myself. Because of if I would not do it, nobody's going to do it. If I talk dirty to myself, nasty to myself, people are going to do that. So you have to do it, even falling up and down. So it was a struggle. Get up again, struggle, get up again, get down, up again. Yeah.
Yeah, I can talk on this too because what I've noticed is if you've talked down on yourself and you've been really hateful with yourself for years and years and years, it's not gonna go away in a couple days. I mean, just like getting stronger. You're not going to be able to squat 400 pounds in a week. So the repetition is where this really comes important. Um, Same thing with Shannon. I have a journal that I write in every single morning, and it's I have to write how I want to feel about myself for that day. Some days I don't want to do that because it's so uncomfortable, and I just don't feel good about myself. And other days I'm fine, but it'll take a while. But the good news is you can overcome it,
You
and
can
and
definitely,
and the
definitely.
more that you do it, the easier it gets. Danza, thank you so incredibly much. I look forward to applying this. You both are amazing and appreciate your knowledge and advice. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
Shannon's a rock star. So I think that's all the questions that we have. So I've put Shannon's contact info in the chat and then in the comments on Facebook. So other than that, I'll let Shannon get back to her day, and hopefully we can have you back soon.
Me too. I hope so. I had a great time. Thank you all. Have a nice day, everybody, and hope to see you all for our next time.
Awesome. Okay, we'll see you soon, Shannon.
Bye.